This video is trying to highlight the fact that to get a first aid kit in the home, but also if you can, go and do a first aid course. If you can afford one, go to St John or other people like that, but try and get a first aid course under your belt. It would be very helpful for you and your family. This is our first aid bag. It's a St John. I am not a doctor and I'm certainly not a paramedic, but I've been trained in senior first aid for a very long time, over many years, particularly when I was in uniform. But I'll show you some of the contents of this bag. Just bear with me a sec. Alright, so I've just opened the bag. It's, like I say, it's a St John's bag. It's quite a comprehensive one. It's got many different compartments with different things in each one. There's even a lot more things than you would get in a small kit. But the most important thing is to actually go through your first aid kit when you get it. This is, like I say, quite a comprehensive one. But what we would do, and we have done, is we'll take all of this out and we look at it, we read it, some of the things you need to check the dates on. Not a lot of things, but a few things. And like I say, this is quite comprehensive. There's all sorts of bandages, and packages and gloves. And on this side there's different, probably won't get to see all of this, but there's different applications for different things. But when you do get your kit, no matter if it's a big one or a small one, go through one section at a time, check out the things you need to check out, like swabs and dates, and they're all important. And behind this one is even more, even things like these scissors. Now these are the scissors, but they're actually meant for cutting clothing, so you can get to the injury. So like I say, this is a very comprehensive home first aid kit, and not a lot of people probably have as much as this, but at least if you have something. If you do buy a first aid kit, what I'm trying to emphasize above everything else is don't just buy it and think I'll put that in the cupboard. Go through all of it. Understand some of the applications for the different bandages, and learn a little bit about the skill. But what I'm really trying to say is that I'm trying to emphasize things like go and do a first aid course. Yes, sometimes they cost a lot of money. Sometimes you can get a community first aid course that costs you nothing. So I'm trying to encourage, at least, like, give an example. If someone in the home knows CPR, well, you might be able to save a life. When it comes to things like knowing some of the basic skills you need in first aid, it could save a member of the family's life, or a friend, or you could be in a sporting field and know how to put a child in a recovery position, etc. But getting back to the first aid kit, if you haven't got one, get one, because the best first aid is immediate. Getting an ambulance or whatever you think will be applicable, but doing nothing could be the difference between life and death. So if you haven't got a first aid kit, try and get one. If you've never done any training in first aid, see if you can get a community course where they may not even charge you anything. But if there are people in the family that understand the basics of first aid, like I say, you could be saving a family member's life, because really the importance of any first aid at all is the immediacy of it, not letting it go for 10 or 20 minutes and hoping the ambulance guy knows what he's doing when he gets there. If you've got some basic knowledge, it's going to come in very handy. So I just wanted to show you that, and now I'm going to show you a few other basic things in the video in regards to some of the basic things that you can learn, and you can store that information. So thanks for watching. For those people who'd like to know what is in our first aid kit, here is a list of what is in the contents of that first aid bag that we have for our home use, and also we can take it with us. Probably one of the most vital first aid knowledge to have would be know how to do CPR. Now, I'm not asking you just to follow this diagram. Again, at the beginning I said I would encourage you to go and do a first aid course. Maybe even go as a daughter, son, mother, father, doesn't matter. If you get somebody in the home that knows how to do CPR, it could, and one day, save someone's life. So I think it's very important that you make an effort to get into a first aid course to get some good knowledge. Some basic knowledge, like if you've got a wound and it's bleeding profusely, you can raise the limb, arm or leg. This is one example for you. A simple sling for damage to the arm, shoulder, joint. This is a very simple diagram showing you how to do that. and things like if someone has got a broken leg or arm, you can utilise a splint, just in case it's an umbrella, but at least if you've got some of these basic knowledge, it will certainly help you. And even things like the recovery position, again, this is one that I would encourage you to go to a first aid course to learn properly, and that's a diagram of one area to do it. The best thing about if you and a family member go into a first aid course is that you can pass on the knowledge to the rest of the family, even friends. It doesn't mean you're a trainer, but some knowledge is better than none. So like I said at the beginning of this video, I'm encouraging you not only to get a first aid kit, but learn the knowledge. So if you can get to a first aid course, I would recommend it highly. And if you have been, thank you for watching.